Hey everybody, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat is brought to you by Joe's Underground at the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, in the bottom of the Lamar Building. Joe's is such a great place to go just to unwind, have a drink, have a little snack. Jeremy and the gang make you feel like family. Even if it's your first time there, they make it feel like you've been there for years. So everybody going down to Joe's, I goes to Joe's, and so should you. Today, my guest is Mr. Sam Kwansman. Mr. Sam has done a lot of voiceover work. He has been Little Quacker in the new Tom and Jerry cartoons, has helped write a lot of those. Has just done so many different things. And he's got so much good stuff to tell. You know, he's worked with Jerry Seinfeld. He's just done so many neat things. So we're going to get this thing kicked off right here on Smoked Meat. How you doing today, Sam?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, my man?
Oh, man, if I was any better, I would be twins.
Yeah. What's your name? Who are you?
My name is Brad Pittman, and my other ego's name is Brad Pittman also.
And you could be Brad Pitt, but if you take the man off,
yeah,
your guys would be twins.
There you go. I'm Brad Pitt, yeah. but the man.
Brad. Close enough.
There you go.
If you just call up some woman and say you're Brad Pitt, man, that would work.
Yeah,
probably score pretty well.
See, my goal is to make it big enough in the podcasting industry where Brad Pitt goes, I'm like Brad Pittman, but without the man.
Well, I'm sure you're just as good looking, but I'm going to pass on that one.
I've got the face for radio. Oh,
I have the voice for television. So there you go.
Oh, man. Sam, you have been in all kind of stuff, man. I mean, to tell you, I was doing my research and just kind of looking over IMDb and everything. And, man, you have just done so much great things. I mean, I saw where you were in Maine with Lucille Ball.
Yeah, Lucy. Yeah, she was a lot of fun. I danced in that movie. For Anna White, who is the Academy Award-winning choreographer, and I did a Disney show with her in the beginning. But Lucy, I mean, I was just a kid, and dancing in the movie, I'd jump over hedges and do these jumps and leaps, and I'd ask her questions. You know, she was a big movie star, but she would talk to you. She's a very serious woman, but she could talk to you. And I'd say, you know, I really like the Three Stooges, and she'd say, they're bad props, they almost killed me. And she told me a story about how she was in a Three Stooges movie.
Nice.
Yeah, Three Stooges short, and she's supposed to be powdering her face, but the powder was very fine, and Larry Fine, no pun intended, turned on a fan that was by the powder, and it went into her face. And she opened up her mouth and her eyes and went, and it went into her throat and her eyes and her upper nose. And she went to the hospital. She said she was there for 3 days, and every time she blinked, it was like sandpaper. She said it was awful. Oh. And many years later, I saw the episode, and sure enough, there's a big jump cut right between her, taking in this powder in her face.
Oh, man.
And so, bad props. And then she told me a great story that she was driving to MGM Studios, and she'd come from the dentist. And back then, during World War II, they didn't put silver in your mouth. The filling was some other substance. Mm-hmm. And as she gets closer to MGM Studios, she hears German in her tooth. She's got radio waves coming in from her tooth. That's what she told me. And it was in German. So she calls the FBI or the police, and they drive around till it gets louder and louder. And sure enough, she found a nest of Nazi spies spying on the MGM Studios.
Holy crap.
From her tooth.
That's wild. I'd always heard about people back in the old days before they changed the fillings that would pick up the radio on their fillings.
Yeah, amazing, it's just unbelievable, that she would tell me this story, but she was very proud of that. And then Bob Preston was on the show, Robert Preston. You had to call him Bob. Mm. And I went up to him one day and I said, you're really great in the music, man. And he looks at me and he says, kid, I've done more than that. And I'm like, ooh, God, But he was very nice about it. And then Bob was, we were shooting all day at the ranch, Warner Ranch up in Santa Clarita. And so I'm standing there and I take a picture of Lucy on her horse. And she looks over at Bob, and Bob goes, I'm going to sit with the ladies. And all the girls go, woo, because they had these bleachers where the female dancers, or any dancer could sit and rest in between takes. Mm-hmm. So they're all up on the bleachers, all these women, and he sits right between them, and he's all just really, happy. And she yells out, hey, Bob, how's your wife? Everybody laughs. He goes, fine, how's yours? She laughed and everybody else laughed. So, but she was very down to earth, just very serious. Man. I really loved working with her. I wish I'd done more with her. Man. But that was quite a movie. It was a fun movie. And then I started in a show called Disney on Parade as a dancer and the voice of Donald Duck for the show. Mm-hmm. And that's how I perfected the voice of Donald Duck.
As many voices as I can do, I cannot do Donald Duck.
Yeah, Donald Duck, for some reason, is pretty unique. It's like, hello, how are you? How big are you? How about that? How was a big idea? I'm so big. And that's Donald. Now I'm Little Quacker for Tom and Jerry cartoons, and he sounds like this. He's, oh boy. So he's more innocent, much more innocent.
He's always been my favorite on Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. And Donald is just, any little thing will set him off.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Well, and you have to convey that. And, voiceover acting is acting. Call it voice acting, because you really have to, that little character, Donald or Little Quacker for Tom and Jerry cartoons that I do, he has to be able to laugh, cry, sing, feel sad, get angry, all the emotions. You have to give him a life. And that's part of it,
Yeah, I've thought about getting into voiceover, and I've got a friend. He's one of our doctors that wrote a book, and I'm actually going to do a radio play of the book for him. And I'm all the voices in the book, and I'm learning really quickly that it's a lot harder than it seems like it would be. But I'm enjoying the challenge, because there's so many different characters in this book. I'm not being the females because I do my voice is just way too low, and the editing would just be horrible. But I mean,
well, listen, you have a nice speaking voice.
Well, thank you.
And seriously, you could do a lot of different characters with that voice. It's just it's acting is the idea behind it. And that's the big deal.
Yeah. Well, my hat is definitely off to you, because this is not easy. I'm learning quick.
Well, I'm also writing some episodes of Tom and Jerry now, and I'm very happy to do that. Tom and Jerry, we're in our 6th season, and this year we will be Tom and Jerry in a big city like New York, a generic New York City, and that'll be coming out this year. And there's a big movie called Tom and Jerry in New York, and I'm not in it, but it's a hybrid movie with Tom and Jerry and some actors. And it should be out in December, but I'm not in it. So there you go. But Tom and Jerry's are great, 6 seasons, and I'm really proud to be in that. I'm just so thrilled. There's a story behind that too. After I'd done Donald Duck, 25 years later, this guy calls me up out of the blue and says, "You still do a good duck?" And I said, "Yeah, who are you?" He goes, "Well, I was an animation supervisor at Disney, and you came into the animation department, did the best Donald Duck, and, I don't think it's much of a stretch for you." And so we wound up doing it. And Warner Brothers still had auditioned 3,000 voice actors for that one role.
Holy crap.
So that's how competitive it is. If you win, it's like winning the lottery. But I was thrilled because I had the backing of the producers, so I was lucky. And that was very nice. So that's what it takes. There's
Cool.
a lot of people out there want to be actors, want to be writers, want to be in showbiz, and it's not easy.
Mm.
It's not. Oh, gee, I'm going to be famous overnight. I don't think so.
Yeah, and listening to other people, do different voices. I've got a bunch of different voices and characters that I do, and one of my favorite ones is Hank Hill from King of the Hill, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And I just would love to sell propane and propane accessories, but seeing as how that character's already taken, and I've actually had people wanting me to do a radio ad for them in that voice, and I'm like, I don't know how that would work,
Well, just so you know, I met Mel Blanc, the voice of, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Yosemite Sam, everybody, all those Warner Brothers, one guy. And his son introduced us. I was at the Mel Blanc School of Voices that he had for a while. So he said, Donald Duck, meet Daffy Duck. So I did Donald, he did Daffy. And he said, it's great, you can do somebody else's voice, but I made my career on original voices. Mm-hmm. And he was right, but he was also wrong. Mm-hmm. Because when he passed away, it took 6 people to replace him. Mm-hmm. So hang in there.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you need people to, keep these characters going. And, time eventually brings others into these jobs. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the guy who did Donald Duck's been gone for 20, 30, 40 years, 30 years already,
mm-hmm.
And he was a great guy.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's my best advice to you is don't worry about it. Just if you can do it, great. And you don't have to do somebody else's voice. Mm-hmm. They always look for unique voices, original voices. So your voice is your original voice.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
I actually did a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I woke up one morning and got bored. And I've got some characters that I do on YouTube, and I actually sat here and interviewed my characters. And instead of I wouldn't record the questions and then go back and record the answers. I basically just went back and forth between the voices, and that was a challenge, but it was so much fun to do.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's just you got to give it a life.
Yeah,
give it a life. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's the key to voice acting. It's acting. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want to do, Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was a dancer. I started as a dancer in a show called Disney on Parade with a guy named Patrick Swayze, and Anna White was the choreographer. She had just won the Academy Award for Oliver 2 years earlier.
Oh, I have to look those two up.
Yeah. And what did I want to tell you? I'm still dancing professionally. I'm the male stripper at the Jewish Home for the Aged here in Reseda. So.
Nice. Nice. I'm working on getting into Chunkendales.
Yeah. Yeah. My big joke. That was it.
Hey, but it was a good one.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. So I did that, and I did lifeguard, and I did as an actor. I was trying to get out of dancing and get into acting, and so stuff like that. So any other questions?
Any other questions? Yeah, like I say, I looked at the IMDb thing. That's just the simplest research and where I start at. And mm-hmm. You are so varied. I mean, you've gone from MAME to lifeguard to airwolf to robot chicken.
Yeah, robot chicken was great. We did
holy
Mickey
crap.
and Donald. Yeah, we did Mickey and Donald at a bar picking up chicks. So.
Oh, man. I do a good Mickey. I do a horrible Mickey, too, though.
Well, I know Mickey. So.
Yeah.
Actually, I know Goofy. Mm-hmm. And he's a great guy, really a great guy. He has a new series out, by the way. You might want to, it's Disney Plus. You might want to plug this. This is Disney Plus. It's called A Dog's Life. And Bill, who's the voice of Goofy and Pluto, is the host. and goes around the country finding dogs that do amazing things, amazing jobs and stuff. So it's quite a great series. It opens with a dog who can find whale poop in the ocean, and
that's a skill.
That's a skill. These dogs are amazing what they can do, through their sense of smell, and it's quite amazing.
Yeah, anybody that says that dogs don't understand has never been around a dog.
Yeah, they really know. They can really figure you out. It's incredible.
Yeah.
They're amazing, and they're so loyal. If I'd known that, I would just had a dog and just had a woman for sex. That's it.
I tell you, I loved what Louis Grizzard used to say about marriage. He'd been married so many times. He said, "I'm never getting married again. I'm just going to find a woman I hate and buy her a house." But yeah, I'm going to watch The Dog's Life because we've got Disney Plus, and yes, I'm almost 50 years old and I watch Disney Plus. I'm not ashamed, but I've not haven't watched The Mandalorian yet. I'm holding out, but to me the only 3 Star Wars are the original 3, so I'm that guy.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I'm I'm still working. I'm on the Tom and Jerry show, and like I said, we're in our 6th season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a movie called Letters from a Nut, produced by Jerry Seinfeld, which is on Amazon Prime. I play a depressed clown. Gee, no typecasting,
No typecasting at all.
I did Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I was his product placement guy,
mm-hmm.
and I did a couple of episodes for him. And he's a great guy, does great work. And he's a successful dude. I mean, Comedians in Cars, terrific. So I did that, and it was written by the great Barry Martyr, who is Seinfeld's head writer.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote on Seinfeld, and so he created Letters from a Nut, the books, and the movie is shot as a stage play. It was a stage play at the Geffen Theater here in L.A., and they shot it as a stage play. So
mm-hmm.
It's a fun show to watch. It's just very funny and clean, and Jerry produced it, so that was great. So.
Yeah. Now, I've always heard that he definitely puts in the work, and you can tell. I've listened to some interviews with him, and man, he is hardcore serious about the business of comedy. But it shows.
Oh he puts the work in. I mean, he doesn't have to. He's got plenty of money from what I hear, but he's just really passionate about stand-up, and he's constantly working. It's his passion. I mean, what else could you do? I mean, I would do the same thing, I would be still acting and all that, which I'm doing now. And it's just a passion. It's what you love, so it's not work.
Yeah.
Right? If you love it, it's not work.
Exactly. Last Saturday I passed 30 years in my job, so I mean,
wow.
I understand.
What do you do?
I'm a paramedic.
Oh boy, you guys are heroes.
I don't know about heroes. That. I just picked from a young age and just kind of stuck with it, and what everybody says is hero. I just figure it's going to work. I don't know. It's put in me.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, you guys, I have friends from high school that are now paramedics, have been paramedics for quite a while, and they are they're heroes. I mean, you guys save lives. It's amazing what you do,
Well, thank you very, very much. That's one thing that got me to doing this podcast is just something to wind down from doing it.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, you guys, you would absolutely need some kind of an outlet. I have a friend who's a paramedic, and he has a rock band, plays 60s, 70s, 80s music, 90s music,
mm-hmm.
and goes out on the weekends and has a band and plays these clubs around here,
Yeah.
And
I hate there's no stages right now because I also do stand up, and I'm sure he's the same way. I'm ready to get back on a stage in front of people. But
yeah, do it. Just get up and do it. It's a great release, and just have fun. The whole idea is if you're having fun, the audience is having fun. You have to engage them, and that's the best advice I can give you. You know, and I do stand up. You know, obviously I've been doing it for years, and it's a lot of fun.
it is.
It's
you
just
know,
really fun.
and one thing I've learned, you know, with this and the stand up and everything is, you know, as you were saying with the voiceovers, be yourself. Because when I first started this, you could tell my interviews were, I would use the radio voice. So, Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, and it sounded so made up and so canned.
Yeah, exactly. You just want them to be part of you want them engaged in part of your act, but in a sense that they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between theater and stand-up comedy and a comedy club. In the theater, they come to listen to you, every word. They want to hear every word you say. They're there to listen to you. When you're in a stand-up comedy club, you have to make them listen. You have to get them to listen to you. You have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Exactly. You know, you're trying to elicit an involuntary response from a group of people you've never seen before, and it's the same response from all of them.
Right. Whereas in a play, in a theater or a musical, you've come to watch and enjoy this guy act.
Yeah.
You may already know who he is, or you may not. But the minute they come on the stage, people applaud him before they even get to talk. And I think for the actor, it's kind of annoying because you know, he wants to get into the character, and the minute you walk on stage, you break character with this, you know, with somebody applauding. It's like, hey, it's the fourth wall. Yeah. So that's the difference. The audience is peering in on a scene that they're not in. They're watching, and they're there to pay attention. Whereas in stand-up comedy, you have to get their attention. Yeah. You have to get them to listen. And if you're famous, it lasts for a few minutes. If you don't have the chops to back it up, you're in a tough situation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
How's that?
That's pretty spot on.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
You've got skills.
Try the veal.
It's beautiful. That veal is so tasty. It's like butter.
Hey, what I want to tell you.
But oh man, I tell you, doing stand up, you know what? I'm going to ask the obligatory question.
Yeah.
What is your worst, or I don't know if worst is the right word, your funniest bad experience in stand up?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I bombed. You know, we all bomb eventually. You know, I was in. I don't know. You can just name almost any club, and you'll do one show, and you're the same material, and you're just kill. And the next audience that comes in, nothing, crickets.
Yeah.
Can't get them to listen to you. You know, and it's the same material, but when they say the audience is part of the comedy, yeah, it's their reaction. You have to play off their reaction.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of comics right now with the quarantines and all that good stuff going on are filming their stand-up and putting it out there, which is awesome because there's so much creativity coming out of this thing, you know, the silver lining. And at the same time, you know, I can't do that because I've got to feed off that audience. You know,
yeah, exactly. You got to feed off the audience. That's the whole thing, you know.
Now this Saturday, we're having a get together of the people that I work with, and you know, we're not really worried about the COVID because we sit 2 feet from each other for 12 hours a shift. So, but myself and another comedian that I know are actually going to go and do a small show in front of them so we can film it for, you know, everybody. And that way we've got that audience to feed off of, and hopefully it's going to be funny. I hope so. Anyway.
That's it. That's it. The whole idea is it's a party and it's fun and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely. But, you know, if nothing else, it's going to be a good low country boil.
Yeah.
So I'm
there you go.
Looking forward to that. I tell you, my worst stand-up experience, which was also the funniest I've ever had anywhere, was my first paid show, and I was in Savannah. And I think I only made like $50 off the show, and I spent $300 to go down there and stay for the weekend, which was fine because I went for the fun of it. But the show was in a strip club in the back of a strip mall. You go to a strip club, you've got to bring the funny. That's all there is to it.
Oh, yeah.
If there's ever a movie made of that night, Ben Stiller will be in that movie. That's the kind of night that it was.
Well, Jay Leno talks about working strip clubs when he was starting out, getting up to do jokes. You know, he would just perform anywhere.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. A lot of guys did that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There used to be a guy named Jay Hickman who he performed out of strip clubs. His home base was one in Myrtle Beach called Baby Dolls, I think.
Oh, wow.
And he was so funny. I mean, his brand of humor and his just the way he was, he could pull it off so great.
Yeah, there's so much talent out there, you know.
Yeah, and he had a rare disease, and he wound up dying from it. And I really hated that. But I've actually thought about getting with that club and seeing if I could do a tribute show for him. You know, and I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure. I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you what a career move this has been. Is there more that we need to talk about, or are we done? Or
we're good, man. I can go all day, or I can go for 10 minutes. I'm easy. I'm the most flexible podcast you will ever be on.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Brad.
Yep, and I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
And you are definitely
and don't forget the
back.
Bob Newhart show. I played the ventriloquist, and that was a big deal. So.
Nice.
And I'm still a duck.
You are the duck.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.